On Hoshana Rabbah, Rebbe always gave out lekach, honey cake, for a blessing for a sweet New Year. And it was one year, Rebbe was giving out the honey cake, and there's a guy who comes by the Rebbe, full of tattoos, long hair, and Rabbi Buket from Swamscott, he was standing behind him, and the Rebbe says to him, where are your plans tonight? He said, I don't have any plans. The Rebbe said, I'll be very happy if you could join me tonight. If you would dance with me, come tonight to the dancing, Simchas Torah, I'd be very happy. He said, okay, I'll take into consideration. And right behind this gentleman, this is everyone's. It's open to everyone. Right behind him, there was another Satmar Chassid, and the Rebbe asked the Satmar Chassid, do you know what it says in the introduction of the book Tehillah L'Moshe? Tehillah L'Moshe was written by Ramesha Teitelbaum, who was a great Hasidic Rebbe in his own right, and the father of the Satmar, grandfather of the design of the Satmar Hasidim. And he says, you know what it says in the introduction to his book? I said, I don't. The Rebbe said, but he's from your one of your tzaddikim, you should know. He said, I don't know. The Rebbe said to the Satmar Chassid by lekach, do you know what it says? The Rebbe asked the Satmar Chassid, do you know what it says in the introduction of the Sefer Tehillah L'Moshe? He doesn't know. So the Rebbe tells him, in this Sefer it says that Ramichal Zlotchever's father, Itzikel, was once walking around in Gan Eden, and he came to some kind of juncture in Gan Eden. I don't know if they have street lights there, I don't know how this traffic works over there, but at some intersection in Gan Eden, Ramichal Zlotchever's father met Rashi. And Rashi asked Rabbi Itzikel, what in the world is your son doing down there? They make such a tumult about him in heaven, what does he do? He says, well, my son, he studies Torah for its own sake. And Rashi says, there are a lot of people that do that. So my son davens with such concentration and intensity for hours and hours every single day. Rashi says, there are many people like that would not make the kind of impact he has in heaven. So finally he tells Rashi, V'rabim heishim yavim. My son has caused a lot of people to do tshuva. So Rashi said, oh, that's already something that's impactful. That's something unique. So Rebbe is telling this story to the Satmar Chassid, apparently to help understand why the Rebbe wanted to invite this guy with the tattoos and long hair to celebrate with the Rebbe, and why it was important to the Rebbe. Why this guy was important. How this is there's no greater satisfaction, no greater happiness Hashem has than a Jew, his child, coming close to him. So that night, Rabbi Buket said the story. Rabbi Buket said he was looking around for this guy with this guy with the long hair to see if he would take up the Rebbe's invitation. And sure enough, after Hakafis was over in 770, Hakafis ends. Hakafis doesn't start until 1 o'clock in the morning because everyone comes back from. So Hakafis finishes, and this guy about 5 o'clock in the morning, the crowd is thinning out. People are still dancing, and he sees this guy. The Rebbe invited. He took up the Rebbe's invitation. The words that come from the heart enter the heart. And he came to the Rebbe's Hakafis. He came to the Rebbe's February. He came to dance with the Torah. This week, we read about a choice. There's a choice that Hashem presents to us. There are some things that people naturally trample underfoot, and other people pay attention to, and they consider those things precious. And there's a choice. It's something that you naturally wouldn't pay attention to, but you have a choice. The Torah says, "V'hoya eka tishmun." If you will listen to those mitzvahs, Hashem says, which people normally trample underfoot, Hashem says, I will bring Mashiach. If you listen and you pay attention to those mitzvahs that people don't pay attention to, Hashem says those ones are unique, and if you listen to those mitzvahs, Hashem says that will bring redemption. In a similar way, there are people that people normally trample underfoot. People don't pay attention to. People just gloss over them. Especially in this city, in LA, there's something called the LA virus. You know the LA virus? LA virus is, what can you give me? Nothing. Okay, let me move around to someone else. And what can you give me? What can you give me? It's LA virus. Baruch Hashem, hopefully no one here has it. Anyways, the LA virus. You heard of the LA virus? LA virus is people who walk around always with a thought, what can you give to me? And if you can't, let me go to someone else. That's the LA virus. So, and there are people that get trampled underfoot because we're not thinking about what's going on in their lives, even though if we would think, we would care. Rabbi Kreiman's son, Rahman al-Islam, was killed in a tragic accident in the scuba diving years ago on a Friday morning. His best friend that night was very distraught, understandably, and he leaves his home on Friday night after Rabbi Kreiman's son was killed, and he walks around with a cigarette. That area where Rabbi Kreiman lives is like the Bnei Brak of Los Angeles. And so walking around with a cigarette on Friday night is a very big social no-no. But this boy was so distraught, he didn't care about what would happen to his reputation. He just couldn't think, just his friend died. So he's walking and smoking a cigarette. He's walking around and he sees Abi Reichik. Abi Reichik, elderly chassid and gesund. Abi sees him and he says, Yankee, it's so good to see you. Good Shabbos. That's all he said. It's so good to see you. Good Shabbos. He didn't say, are you okay? What's wrong? Without any judgment, just heard him where he was, and hearing him where he was, and validating him, and acknowledging him, and telling him that, yeah, it's good to see you. That gave him redemption. That redeemed him. So, the time that we're in right now is a very confusing time. On the one hand, the Torah has never been spread farther than it has in our times. Anywhere you go in the world, you can find the Chabad Center, you can find Torah, it's all over the world. On the other hand, it's like a twilight zone, because on the other hand, we find that all of the Gemara's predictions about the ominous predictions, about what will happen before Mashiach will come, are all fulfilled in a very vivid way. The Gemara says that before Mashiach comes, there will be chutz biyaski, the incredible insolence. We see today unbelievable insolence. People are able to say that the Israeli soldiers protecting innocent lives, they are the Nazis. And the actual Nazis, they are the ones who are freedom fighters. And this is happening, and it's open, and it's clear, it's chutzpah, it's an incredible chutzpah that it's prevalent, and it's accepted in America, of all places, and not just accepted, it's accepted by the academia, in Harvard, in Columbia. It's something which is normal. Another prophecy the Gemara says before Mashiach will come is that Hamalchus Nepchel Aminus, the government will all be corrupt and bereft of any bit of faith. The Gemara says that before Mashiach comes, Anshe Hagvul Yosevu, the people who are on the border. We moved around from place to place as we see today in Israel. People moving around from place to place because of all the bombing and all. But on the other hand, so how are we meant to understand what our role is at this time when there's such a upheaval on the one hand, on the other hand there's such blessing of Torah on the other hand. What is it? What is our generation about? The answer is, and as a Torah title, the Torah portion is Akev. What does Akev mean? Akev means a heel. And the Arizal says that when Adam ate from the tree of knowledge, Adam wasn't just one person. In Adam's soul, every Jew was inside Adam's soul. It's an interesting story. Rabbi Melech and Rabbi Zusha were once talking about this. Rabbi Zusha said to Rabbi Melech, Rabbi Melech, I know your soul was in Adam and my soul was in Adam. I understand why I didn't stop Adam from eating from the tree of knowledge. I know why I didn't stop him. But you, my dear brother, you were in his hand, you were in his foot, you were in somewhere in his body. Why don't you stop Adam from eating from the tree of knowledge? From eating the Eitz Hadas? Why don't you stop him? So Melech said, at that moment, he remembered. At that moment, I had this confusion, this ambivalence. Should I eat? Shouldn't I eat? And I felt detached from Hashem. And I figured I'll just eat, and then I'll reconnect myself, and then I'll be able to realign and make a decision better after I eat. That's what Melech said about his previous lifetime being within the soul of Adam. So when Adam ate from the tree, every single soul was affected. Everyone was affected in different ways. Depends what kind of soul you were. If you were a head soul, you were tainted and contaminated, something was lost. If you're a head soul, if you're a foot soul, you're affected a different way. So the souls of our generation are compared to not just the foot, but the heel. The souls of generations of Torah scholars are connected to the head of Adam. The souls of those who are able to daven with full hearts and open hearts, they're connected to the heart of Adam. And the lowest souls, the souls that will bring in the era of Mashiach, our souls, we are connected to the heel of Adam. There are no Sephardim and there are no Ashkenazim. There are no Misnagdim and there are no Hasidim. All there are in our generation are heel souls. We're not gifted, we're not special in other ways, we're special in being heel souls.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? Oh, exactly. So what's our role? We know we're the final generation for the coming of Mashiach, but what is our role? What are we meant to do as a heel soul? What are heel souls meant to do? What are heel souls about? The Gemara says Mashiach will come when all the souls in the body will finish. What does that mean? All the souls in the body will finish. What that means is that there is a progression in history of Adam's soul, and the early generations, they're connected to the head of Adam, and as it goes further and further in history, the lowest souls, eventually we, the heel souls, are born, and we're meant to rectify what happened to us through the sin of the tree of knowledge. We have a unique role as heel souls. So, but on the other hand, we're the makeh bepatish. The Gemara says that what is considered the conclusion of making something the final blow of the hammer. We are the ones who finish the final blow of the hammer of the purpose of all of history. So the Gemara says, when will Mashiach come? Till all the souls which are in the storage house of Adam are finished, are born, and not just they're born, but yichlu, that they're also in a state of yearning for Hashem. That our souls also have to be uniquely, Hashem was waiting for our souls to also have this yearning and this closeness with Hashem. What does that mean? How do we function as heel souls? Every one of us, in our prayers, we ask Hashem something which seems to be completely incredulous. We all stood before Hashem not long ago in the holiday of Shavuos, when He says to Hashem, Hashem, I want you to fulfill a certain verse in me. Which verse? V'nocha love ruach Hashem, ruach etzo bina, ruach das agura, ruach yiras Hashem. I should have the fulfillment of the verse about Mashiach. It should happen to me. I should be Mashiach. Now, if you meet somebody who thinks they're Mashiach, what's your first reaction? Cuckoo. Rabbi Melul from France, he once brought a group of people to visit the Rebbe, and one of them was a little bit off. And Rabbi Groner told Rabbi Melul, when this guy comes into the Rebbe, I don't know if he's going to be speaking to the Rebbe about something that deserves a conversation, or if he needs to be ejected. I don't speak French. So I'm going to follow behind, when I'm going to keep the door open. You'll give me a signal if I should yank him out of the room. This guy had a folder. In his folder, he had dates of various important conversations he had. I spoke to Elijah the prophet in New York on 5th Avenue and Lexington on 1973. He had all these proofs why he was Mashiach. And he was telling everyone in his group that the Rebbe for sure knows he's Mashiach. And he's going to go tell the Rebbe that he's Mashiach because for sure the Rebbe knows, and the Rebbe is going to validate his candidacy for Mashiach. He comes in the Rebbe's room, and Melul is watching, Rabbi Groner is watching, and he brings the Rebbe his folder, he shows the Rebbe the folder. You remember when I spoke to Elijah the prophet in 1973, and I had this dream in 1978, and that's why, I'm Mashiach. So Rebbe asked him, do you put on tefillin? He said, no. So Rebbe said, Mashiach is the one who's going to restore all the mitzvahs to the Jewish people. He's going to make everyone do mitzvahs, and tefillin is a major mitzvah. All mitzvahs are connected to tefillin. It's really important that Mashiach puts on tefillin. It's okay, I'm in. From now on, I'll put on tefillin. So the Rebbe asked him, do you keep kosher? He says, no. So Rebbe said, when you eat kosher, when you eat kosher, it gives purity to your body. Makes your body very pure. Mashiach is going to bring purity to the world. He's going to remove impurity from the world. So it's very important that Mashiach eats kosher. I'm in. From now on, I'll keep kosher. So Rebbe says to him, do you keep Shabbos? He says, no. So Rebbe said, when Mashiach comes, the whole world, every day is going to be like Shabbos. It's very important that Mashiach keeps Shabbos. I'm going to do that. From now on, tefillin, Shabbos, kashrus. So Rebbe says to him, okay, do these things, and then we'll meet. Then for a few months, then we'll meet again, and we'll discuss what more you could do so you'll really be Mashiach. That's what the Rebbe said. He walks out of the Rebbe's room on a cloud. You guys were making fun of me. You thought I wasn't him. You put the fan on. Thank you. But he knew al Mashiach. Now, on the surface, it looks like the Rebbe was just using his weakness against them or for him, but it wasn't that. Every one of us is Mashiach. Every one of us has a spark of Mashiach in us, and there's a part of the world we're meant to redeem. There's a part of the world that you are meant to redeem, to free, to bring goodness to that part of the world. The same Ramel Chelvezhensk, he once had a dream, or more accurately, his soul went up to heaven. And when he went up to heaven, he went to various places in heaven, and he saw in heaven that there were angels or souls, and they were carrying various artifacts of the temple, the Beis HaMikdash. They were carrying the altar, they were carrying the table, whatever they were carrying. He asks the angels, the souls, what are you guys doing? He says, we're carrying, these are the parts of the temple that you have built. This is the part of the temple that you created. Naftali of Ravshitz, once I asked the question, we say in our prayers, may the temple be built speedily in our days. What's the meaning of an our days? That means there's a part of, there are days Hashem gave you to build the temple. The space and the time that you are born, that you live in, you cause redemption to that place, you fix up that place. That is what builds a temple. So it's happening now. The temple, when it will be built, is just a revelation of what you're creating today. So you are the Mashiach, you are the Redeemer for your space in the world. The Gemara says, and Rabbi Yerushalmi says, that there was a Jew who came to Rabbi Shmuel with a question. What was his question? He had a dream. In his dream he dreamt that he swallowed a star. So Rabbi Shmuel said, Tepech Rucha, that guy should be killed. Why should he be killed? He said, because a Jew is a star, and swallowing a star means this guy killed a Jew. So a Jew is compared to a star. And the other, and the Gemara Yerushalmi also says, Darach Keichem Miyaka, says the Gemara Yerushalmi, who is the star? Star is Mashiach. So a Jew is called a star, says Gemara Yerushalmi, and the Gemara says that Mashiach is called a star. Why? Because each of us is that star. Each of us is Mashiach. So the Arizal, it's unbelievable. We don't really know much about the Arizal. Arizal, he born in Yerushalayim, and he spent a lot of time in meditation, solitude. He's married, and he returns to Tzfas at the age of 36. He lives for 2 more years, till 38. And all of the tzaddikim of his era, all honored him with the leader, as being their leader. And today, the Arizal's teachings are accepted by all the Jewish people. The Arizal never wrote anything. All Arizal's teachings were transmitted to his student, through his student Rabbi Chaim Vital. The Arizal, Rabbi Chaim Vital writes in Shar Galgulim, Shar Lamed Ches, he writes about an interesting exchange he had with the Arizal. He said to the Arizal, you say that I have this high soul. Arizal told the Rabbi Chaim Vital, no one else should write down my teachings, just you, because you have a very lofty soul. He says to Arizal, I know, he tells Arizal, that I can't compare to generations before me. I know if I go generations back, there would be people, I wouldn't reach their heels. How can you tell me that I have this lofty soul? So Arizal said, it doesn't go by your actions, it goes by the time that you're born in. In other words, Arizal said, if you were born in a higher generation, in a greater generation, you'd be much greater. But it goes by where you are and time and history. That's how it's measured. That's what he told him.
What does that mean?
That means, I'll give you a mere dik of word I just heard this week. I forgot who was the source of this word. It's like one of the Chassidic rabbis said this. We say in Mincha and Shabbos, on the surface we're talking about Hashem. Hashem, your righteousness is like the mountains of Hashem. Your judgment extends to the depth. But Chassidic masters say this, unbelievable. Hashem is talking to you, Daniel Lamber. Hashem is telling you, you think your mitzvahs are negligible. Your averes are an obstruction, they're insurmountable. Is that how God looks at it? Say the Chassidic masters, Hashem tells you, tzidkoscha, your goodness, Hashem says to me, in your generation, your time, in your space, who you are, it's unbelievable. Tzidkoscha kahari kel. Your righteousness, Hashem says, like a mountain. Umishpatecha. And the things things that you think you deserve to be judged for Hashem, Tohim Rabba, they're negligible. Instead of asking Hashem to forgive you for the things that you think are terrible mistakes, those are actually things you should tell Hashem Rafa'enu. A lot of times people are praying to Hashem to to forgive us, when really the appropriate thing is not to forgive us as part of our biology. It's how Hashem created us with certain things. We should ask Hashem to heal us, not to forgive us. It's not, Hashem doesn't expect us to do things we can't do. So Hashem continues, if you're a Jew and you have a man in you, you have an neshama, and you have an animal in you, you have a body, you have an animal soul. Hashem says you are contending with that kind of dichotomy, the kind of friction. Hashem says, Teshia Hashem, all you deserve is Hashem's salvation. Adam Behema, you're dealing with the Behema, you're dealing with this period of history. Unbelievable, Hashem says. You deserve the most. You're a healed soul. It says in the...
whose work is this?
Chassidic Master, I don't remember who it was from. Ask me afterwards, I'll send to you. Wow. There was the Gemara says that Rabbi, he went to go mark the various parts of the Maras Machpelah, and he wasn't allowed to look at the face of Adam Rishon. He was told in heaven that he wasn't allowed to look at the face of Adam Rishon. Teis Afyemi. So I heard, I know where it says this, but I heard that if you learn something in Torah and you find another place that it cross-references it, it's a good siman. So good siman for you. Okay, so it says that Rabbi Noah couldn't look at the face of Adam Rishon. He looked instead at the heel. Rav Bana. And the heel of Adam Rishon, his heels were brighter than the sun. What are the heels of Adam Rishon? The heels of Adam Rishon are us. We are the heels of Adam Rishon. We're his heel. We're the heel souls. And despite our shortcomings, we are the ones that create this incredible light that never existed before. They're the one that's going to bring the actual coming of Mashiach. Why? Because of the unique challenges that we have that no generation had before. Our grandparents in the shtetl in Russia didn't in Europe, in Poland, in Iran, didn't see a bus driving on Shabbos. They didn't see a bus driving on Shabbos. The whole town was Shabbos. When it was Shabbos, the whole town was Shabbos. So the unique challenges that we have are what actually accentuate and show our deep connection to Hashem. And that's why it says that these healed souls, our souls, which seem to be the lowest of souls, it says that Moshe Rabbeinu was the most humble person. Why was he the most humble person? The Arizal says Moshe Rabbeinu was shown by Hashem all future generations. And Hashem showed Moshe Rabbeinu Moshe Segev in San Diego. And he's looking at Moshe Segev. Moshe Rabbeinu was so humble, looking at Moshe Segev in San Diego. And then he goes daven Mincha, and goes daven Ma'ariv. In the middle of the city with all these distractions and attractions, he ignores them all. He's going daven Mincha. So it says because of this, Moshe Rabbeinu was the most humble person of all, and seeing this kind of a devotion of our generation. That's the meaning of the healed souls. We're not as sensitive as generations before. No, we're not. We don't have the gift of the minds and hearts of generations before. But on the other hand, what we're able to do, is the actual performance in mitzvahs. Hashem says this is something that has a far greater value than we could possibly imagine. It says about Moshe Rabbeinu, Utmunas Hashem Yabit. Moshe Rabbeinu looked at the image of Hashem. On the surface, the pasuk is saying Moshe Rabbeinu looked at Hashem's image, whatever that means. But it also means something else. Moshe Rabbeinu was gifted to see the world, Utmunas Hashem Yabit. To see the world from Hashem's perspective. We're so caught up in the here and now and the things we have to do, we didn't do, we're supposed to do tomorrow, whatever, and we don't have a chance to realize what our role is. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Why are we here? Why are we born at this time? So the Eibusha tells us, V'hoya eket tishmun. The word V'hoya means happiness. V'hoya eket tishmun. Hashem says, when the generation of the heel, when they do mitzvahs, Hashem says, that's when Mashiach will come. Our generation specifically is considered Tasha Nishba V'secha, is what completes all of history. There's a fascinating Medrash Pliya. The Gemara says, Medrash says, that what's this verse talking about? Eket Tishmun, unbelievable. Rabbi Yechanan, I think, says, this pasuk is talking about a person who builds a menorah. On Shabbos, you're not allowed to build anything. If you have a menorah shel prakim, if you have a menorah made up of many pieces, and you stick the pieces together, you're chayav chatas, it's considered a violation of Shabbos. This, the Gemara says, this is the meaning of Eket Tishmun. Eket Tishmun is building a menorah. What's the connection? Building a menorah? What's the connection? The connection is this. There is a menorah. The menorah is the Jewish people. And there are 7 branches of the menorah. And the Alter Rebbe says the 7 branches of the menorah mean there are 7 kinds of souls. And of all the souls of history, who are the ones that complete the menorah, that create finalize the purpose of all of the souls born in history? It's Ekev, the lowest neshamas, the lowest souls. We're the ones to do this. So it's very important to have a lot of simcha. And let's conclude with this. Let you guys go. There's a verse in the 6th Torah portion. V'hoya im shachoyach tishkach as Hashem lekecha. It will be, if you forget, you will forget Hashem your God. Chassidic masters say this. I think there's a original Rebbe said this. V'hoya means happiness. V'hoya im shachoyach means if you forget to be happy. If you forget to be happy, so the pasuk continues, Tishkach as Hashem lekecha, you forget Hashem. In order to remember Hashem, you have to have be b'simcha. When you v'hoya im shachoyach, if you forget the v'hoya, you forget the simcha, then you forget Hashem. The key to remembering Hashem, to Hashem to be present in your life, is your simcha. How do you get the simcha? By realizing who you are and what you are, and how you were chosen to be the one to end the exile. When you think about this, all the obstacles in your path don't seem like obstacles as much, because you realize you're empowered. Hashem chose you. It brings a sense of unity. We're all in this together to bring Mashiach. Thinking about this really transforms the whole way we look at the different things we have to do every day, the Shachris, Mincha, and Ma'ariv, and Stockholm, the Torah, all the different things, to realize we're the ones. The generation of Ekel will have the Simcha, and the way we're going to have the Simcha is through us being the Simcha now, as we finish the last Makeh Patish, the last hammer blow to finish the Golus, with Simcha and gladness of heart. L'chaim.